Everyone, welcome to my commentary over my latest game, Sparrow. In this game, I'm going to be kind of going through what I did wrong, where I could do better, what the team was doing wrong, where we can improve on, and why Sparrow is the best AD carry in game as of right now. So let's go ahead and start this recording and go through where we can do better. So to begin with, a lot of the early games kind of slow, nothing too special with the farming here, but you need to make sure that when you're setting up your lanes, you want to make sure you have in deep wards. Those wards right outside the river, like I just placed it right there, doesn't really do too much to alert you that there's somebody coming, and especially if you're not putting one behind you, or if you're going to focus on pushing. Putting those deep wards early game makes a big difference and know where the jungler started. And as of right now, we don't know where the jungler started. We don't know if Kalari is over and right, left, taking red, taking blue. All we know is our jungler is at blue, right? So we need to be aware of where the other jungler could be possibly be. So in this situation, this level one early game, Revenant and Richter took a lot more damage than we did, mostly because they're playing so forward, and Decker is able to really poke them out, and I'm able to snipe from a lot further distance than Revenant's range. Richter's not playing front. He's playing really conservative. He's not running at us. He's not charging us. He doesn't have a silence. He has his hook. And if you really want to make this better, right, they have to be able to land the skill shots to make it really count. So what I'm doing here is called slow farming. I'm not doing a great job at it per se, and I'm missing a lot of early game CS. But one of the biggest things here is that since they're so aggressive, I can just keep the lane hooked on our side as much as possible. We don't want to push up it nearly as hard as I am now, and if I really should keep it at us. And one thing happens here is that Kalari ganks and fails to kill me. The Richter didn't push up, the Revenant didn't hit me, so I'm able to flash out of there and sit on my tower. He had, if I get pulled here, I would have died, it would have been fine. But they failed to do that. So what happened here, what this gave us, is that because Clary ganked, the wave then attacked them and it's stacked in our favor again. So now the wave's coming right back at us. It's going to go right under the tower, and I'm going to be able to farm safely for the most part until Kalari or somebody else comes and tries to kill me, where they're diving the tower or pulling me. For the most part, they're not going to be able to stop me from free farming under the tower. And that's the big piece here. So now I'm able to free farm. I don't need a gank. A left lane can just sit there and wait, and our jungler can catch up, right? Sevarog needs time to get to his online level, which is that mid to late game, where Sevarog starts doing better, and he's not being counter ganked or anything like that, so it makes his life very easy to being able to roam and do stuff. So one thing we just saw here is Decker trying to poke the Richter out, and while this well it's a good idea, but there's nobody else here. Clary's not here. He had to go back. He was too low. His AD carry's not here, so really Richter being here is just doing nothing for him. And now he's trying to push the minions back up to my tower, and honestly, it's just helping me. Right, I don't need to even focus on waiting or trying to CS because honestly, I'll snipe, but I don't need to move. I can sit here and wait it out because in the long run, he's just doing me a favor by auto attacking the minions like he's doing right now. So the minions will crash into me. I can sit and wait. My support came back. She bought her items, and I can just wait until I get my first piece of my lightning hawk. So here is where it starts getting the next iteration, right? I'm behind a lot of CS, so I need to really focus on getting those last hits and not autoing minions too much. As you see, what I am doing here, I am autoing the minions way too much, and I'm trying to get gold buff. Decker's not really Decker comes, but it's it takes us a little bit and we waste time on the gold buff where I could have been getting those last hit CS. We do burn a flash here, so burning flashes is more important than actually getting the last kill, mostly because the kills early game are not going to give you the gold that you would need for your crest to level it up so that you're able to get your crest upgrades as early as possible, because that's what's going to make the biggest difference. And in this game, I ended up getting my crest upgrade way too late because I missed so much CS. Even poking was not enough to make up the differences of how much CS I missed early game. So CSing is very important while poking, but you don't want to miss that CS. The next piece here is for anybody that's going to come and help an AD carry lane. Please don't take the big siege minion. That siege minion is huge, huge gold, and losing it is it hurts in the long run. Burns out a lot of extra money, and it hurts your crest farming. So if you take that minion, support, jungle, off lane, mid lane, whoever comes into lane, if you take that minion, it's going to slow down the AD carry from even being able to catch up if they're missing kills or if they're missing assists or missing CS in general. That siege minion is very, very important. Early game is like 66 gold and it goes up from there. So now the next piece here is that when you're ganking the lane, right? Not everybody is going to follow the jungler, and if the support's not being aggressive, then ganking the lane kind of is defeating the purpose. Now, if they're under the tower, you should be ganking lane if possible, but you want to try to keep that lane frozen. You don't want to push the lane up unless it's like mid to like closer to the tower. Then you want to just push it into the tower, have it crash, and have it reset. And in that situation would have been better. That's a good situation when you're trying to do something like that. But normally you don't want to have that push up as much as possible. You want to keep it on your tower as good as well. Now, if you're both are slow farming and keeping it right in the middle, that's ideal, right, for both sides. And if you can do that, then you're going to have a better time where both teams can be ganked. It's open to Fangtooth farming. You know, you have a lot of options at that point. So be aware of how to handle your lane and keeping it where you need it to be. Now, going into this, rotating, making sure your team's warded. So we have 2 wards already set up on Fangtooth. Me and Countess are warding, Sevrog's warding, and our Decker needs to probably do that same thing and keep those wards in there. But we haven't put any deep wards, and that's the first problem here. We still don't know what Kalari's at. And those are where the deep wards really come in handy. So once you get, a Vantage, Decker or mid lane or jungle should be really trying to get into those, drop a ward by red, drop a ward by one of the camps, so that we know where they're putting so we know where the jungler is at, right? So we know how the jungle is, how that jungle is acting. So in this situation, they're focusing this Decker, which is really far away. He's trying to kill Decker. She's one shot away, but imagine just ignoring the Decker and turning on me. You would have had 2 people attacking me and I would have died. I had flash available, but there's a good possible chance that they would have killed me instead, but they ignored me. They didn't care. They tried to get the kill because she was so low HP, and it failed on them. And now I got a kill on Revenant, I get a kill on Kalari, and I get a kill on Richter. And the issue and the reason I got all these kills is because they got greedy, right? They wanted those kills because they looked easy. And ironically, they weren't. They weren't a good kill. They gained them nothing. They got nothing out of it besides me getting a lot more gold and 3 kills on it. So I covered my bases now. I'm behind almost 30 CS. And now I've caught up because I got those 3 free kills because they were charging the Decker. And especially under the tower, she caged him and was, done deal. So my first item here is going to be always Lightning Hawk. Lightning Hawk is such a really strong item for most carries, mostly because that force taught being able to slow somebody and giving extra magic damage is huge. And on Sparrow, with your ulti, that's pretty like a no-brainer to me. I use Lightning Hawk on both Sparrow and Drongo. I think it's just one of those strong items early game. And especially the fact that it does extra magic damage for those building like straight armor. You can get some of the extra magic damage out and be able to do some more damage to them. So if you see what I did there, I was like, okay, he's out of range. I'm going to switch over to targeting the Richter and ignoring the Revenant because he's out of range. It's not worth me trying to chase him down. And this is what happens here, right? I got greedy. I came up to help the team and there was no reason for me to. My team had the kills. We had Sevrog there, we had Countess there. There was no reason for me to try to even move up to help because the kills were secure. And I got greedy and I got killed for it. Jungle came up. I was already half HP. I had no flash. I had no pots. Oh, I had 1 pot. And I have 2 wards. I could have warded. And not I got picked off. But I got greedy, moved up, got killed. So you want to make sure your surroundings, if your team has the kills, don't try to just go in just for the kills. Don't try to KS the kills either because there's no reason to die for the kills, right? If they're secure, let them be secure. Let them go. So I'm going mid to support my mid laner's lane to make sure it doesn't get too far pushed. This phase not rotating, right? So this problem here is the phase not rotating at all. She's been sitting mid pretty much the whole time. She might have rotated once to the right to hit this Grux, but our off lane is not doing so good against the other opponent's Grux, and he's having he's struggling. He's struggling throughout this game, which is fine. And our Sevrog's trying to help and push out Sevrog, the other Grux, so that our Grux can farm. But yeah, the major problem here. So we have no wards again on the map. So, I have two wards on me. I need to get warding on the left hand lane and get that Fangtooth warded. And Decker needs to roam and start putting wards in their jungle on the left lane. So taking these river buffs is primary, heavy. You need to take the river buffs. And you need to start warding deep. And when having those cutoff points for the wards makes a huge, huge difference when it comes down to knowing where your enemies are at and knowing why you should be pushing or knowing why you should be rotating. Now, Faye could never rotate anywhere, mostly because the left, their AD carry, the dual lane is always pushed up. They're always mid lane, while Decker is just sitting on a tower. What are you doing? You're gaining nothing from that. You could have probably rotated on Fangtooth multiple times, and instead you're not gaining anything with it. So, it makes it easier for me to just win. Now, Revenant, again, he was 2 levels below me, so I'm not really sure why he ulted me there with no real items on him. You have to be aware of your opponent. If they have an item and a half over you, you really shouldn't engage on them at all. His Q was down on top of that, which makes it like, okay, it's kind of a joke to even try to engage when you don't have anything. So we're 12 minutes in, and I'm not done with my crest yet. And that's a problem. And because I'm down almost 60 CS more in this game, it's pretty bad. You can do about 10 CS. I think a minute in this thing. I think it's about 10 CS. Could be off a little bit, but it's around that. So in this situation, and when Fangtooth is up, right? A lot of times it's easier to stay behind the jungler and not keep rotating like I'm doing right now. The reason I'm staying like more to the sides of the Fangtooth so I don't get hit with a blast. But as long as your jungler has smite up and their jungler's not there to really counter it, you want to get out, have flash available and get out of the pit. But if they have massive AoEs, like they have a Howie instead of a Faye, maybe they're running Faye and Howie or Gideon, you don't want to be that pit. You want to have an escape mechanism to get out of the pit and not as a carry, especially as a carry. If it's Steel, that's a good offlaner or support as well. Because a Decker, she could cage, not too bad. So my second build item here is Ashbringer, and the reason I like Ashbringer on Sparrow is because it gives you the cooldown on crits, right? It gives you the armor pen that you're missing, and it gives you the extra on hit damage as physical damage, and those three things make it a really big item for Sparrow when she hits a level 11 to level 2 ulti, because that's going to give you the extra damage you're missing. That's going to let you hit a lot harder early game. Most tanks have that armor. Once you have 35% armor pen, you can pretty much burn down any tank that's not completely fed and they're not running Razorback. So once you have your Ashbringer, you want to. So if I had the missing CS I have, if I was at 100 CS right now instead of 60 or 70, and I got almost every gold buff, I would have had Ashbringer by now at 15 minutes. And I would have had my crest done. That's a big, big, big jump. Though the crest upgrade, once I get to there, will be the anti-tank. That item gives you true damage, attack speed. That burns down tanks immensely, like fast. It gives you so much extra damage where you're just gonna hit them even harder and be able to take them down even faster. Sparrow shines when they're grouped, right? If you have to pop your ulti and you have to use your passive your crest active, and you're not able to take down more than one of them, you're gonna have a bad time trying to recoup that damage. Now, don't get me wrong, Sparrow has a lot of possibilities with that, but her shine, right? Pop your E, pop your ulti, pop your crest, and you just burst down 2 to 3 of them at a time because your ulti pierces, so it hits everything in front of you and behind them, and it does all the damage as long as it's in the middle. The right sides, left side says like percentage of 60, 70%. But if you have the true damage, you're doing AoE slows, you're doing extra on hit procs. So you have a lot of really AoE damage, and you want them to group. You want the enemy team to be like, okay, we're going to group up, I'm going to try to kill it. And if you get somebody that has like Decker that can change them, you have a Steel that can knock them up, you have a Sevarog that can root them, any of that style, put in, or even Grux that can pull them in, Faye that can pull them in, somebody that can pull them in into a group like that. Sparrow is just going to melt everybody in that group because she pierces every single person. Every single person gets pierced, every person gets hit with the full amounts of damage, and you have your right click as well to do even more damage, to go through walls, go through towers, people, doesn't matter what it is, it pierces everything. Which again makes a huge difference for why Sparrow is so good in a team fight. Here I got greedy. I forgot Grux was fed. I kind of dived the Grux thinking that I could slow him down before he could kill me. Yeah, that was a mistake. Huge, huge, huge mistake. I was like, wait, why did Grux kill me? And I just realized he was running that. Now, your third item can be a lot of mixture. Depending on how tanky they are, what you need to build, you can build into Kingsbane if they're all squishy. Kingsbane gives you that shielding on hit, and the nice thing about Kingsbane with Sparrow, again, is that AoE ulti that pierces everybody means that you stack multiple damage shields because you're hitting multiple champions with your ulti and you can pierce everything in front of you. Huge difference, big money maker, big way to playing. Now we're at 17 minutes and I'm still not upgraded my crest. Again, that is a problem. If you're not done with your crest really by 15 minutes, you're really behind. And even though you have 10, 15, 20 kills, whatever it is, if your crest is not done, you're hindering your team for being able to even carry. So if they would push you, if they would 5-man group us right now, and just charge us in mid, they would probably do a lot more damage than we're anticipating and probably kill us. That's probably what they should have done. They should have been 5-man grouping here. Sevarog is way behind lines. He could easily be picked off. They could easily just group up and fight us. I don't have my crest. I don't have Sky Splitter. I don't have Kingsbane yet. So they have a lot of tanks in front of them too, with the Grux being fed and the Rampage. Grux and Richter. They have a lot of options to really fight us. Countess is not fully online yet. She's almost there, but she's working her way up. Sevarog's pretty tanky already because he was able to farm his stacks. So we have a good setup too, but to be honest, we're still equal in a lot of ways. The kills are equal, the CS is equal, towers are pretty equal. The only thing that's different here is that Grux is really fed. And then they should be working around the Grux and the Fae because those are the strongest points. Revenant's pretty weak at this point, as we saw early game. So again, we're getting those deeper wards now because we want the second Fangtooth. We're pushing up, we're pushing forward, and trying to get good vision on what's going on here with Kalari, with everything going on. We want to make sure we see and get them as much as possible. So one of the things here that a lot of Kalaris fail to oh, he got out. Oh no, yep, he got out. I missed. One of the biggest things here that happens with Kalaris is that they get they get cocky like every other Kalari, but Countess just blows up Kalari in a couple hits, and if you have an assassin that can counter the other assassin like my Countess was doing on my team, uh, there's nothing for me to worry about because now I can chill, and I know Countess will 2 to 3 shot the Kalari or get the Kalari out of my way to where I can work on the tanks, the front line, getting them burned down and when they get grouped. So this is interesting take on this. I don't know what to say. I don't know if it's worth it. Personally, it's one of those it's no, this team's not doing the greatest, but imagine if Grux was here instead of on right lane and he just pushed the wave up, let the wave crash, making one of us back like Sevrog did. But instead of staying there with it by himself, he rotated and he was on us here. If Grux was here, this would have turned in favor of Grux, of their team versus our team. Now we lost the fight still, but they almost died in the process. So is it really worth them, for them to waste so much time pushing the lane and not really gaining anything, and they still haven't taken Fangtooth for it. Now, again, they won the fight, but they could have won that fight a lot better if Grux was with them instead of being, solo on the off lane. So our Sevrog is able to defend. I think our in this situation, our Grux was spamming surrender because he was just not having a good game. But don't rage at them, don't ping them, don't do anything, don't say anything. Just you know you know decline decline the thing, play it out, let them keep grouping with you. Just keep trying to aim to your aim is to win. So we were still spawning. Like they had a good 30 seconds now to take Fangtooth, and they're not on Fangtooth. They're sitting there warding it, but they weren't on it. So in this situation, our Sevrog and our Decker are able to push them out and kind of bully them until until they're able to get into this. Now this is where it goes bad for us because we're trying to get onto this Fae. Decker gets killed by Klari really fast, and we're not able to close in. So our jungler goes back in with Grux. Grux is not strong enough. He pulls him in, and I have ulti. Problem is here, I don't have my anti-tank. I'm doing damage, but as you saw, I wasn't doing nearly enough damage. I'm hitting him, but not enough. Get greedy, stay too long, try to get the kill, I die for it. So now I'm dead for 40 seconds. I lose farm. I have my crest upgrade finally with anti-tank. And it, I imagining if I had that crest way earlier there, I could have probably changed that team fight to being three of us dying to two of them dying instead. Would have been a big difference if I would have had over 100 CS by now. I should have almost 200 CS by now, and I'm not even close to doing that. All right, so now we're stuck waiting, we're stuck getting pushed back, and we have to play defensively, right? Uh, as a carry, I'm behind CS. I'm not behind on levels, but I'm definitely far behind in CS, and we're 10 kills down, right? Being 10 kills down is not horrible. We're not uneven in money as a team, right? Team versus team, we're pretty much equal in gold wise. The Grux is probably the highest, the probably has the most money for most of their team fights, and most of the farm that he has on the team. But besides that, the only person we really have to worry about is that Grux, and we find the Kalari does a lot of damage to like me and Decker. But honestly, once like Countess or even Sevrog get one CC onto Kalari, and it's done deal. Don't have to worry about it anymore. Kalari is dead in two hits from pretty much any of them. We really don't have to worry about it. So it's we have to play defensively. We have to work together and kind of like rotate. So we're doing this 4-man push while Sevrog is holding off the Grux on the right on the off lane, and that actually helps us because we break them up into parts here. It definitely sucks that Decker kind of got picked off here while trying to ward, but she's able to flash out, jump over the wall, and get out. And we get a kill on the Grux because he's being greedy and doesn't see anybody on. He doesn't have any wards. He doesn't see anybody on our screen on his screen probably in the map, and he stays there. He overstays, and well, our Countess and our Grux and our Sevrog are able to take him down. So because of that, we're able to start warding again, warding our jungles, warding our rivers, getting the buffs, and setting up for the next iteration of what we need to do. Right, the left lane's not pushed, the middle lane's not pushed, but our right lane's being pushed again. Sadly, they're overextending again on the right. Grux is going to get killed by Klari because he's by himself. Klari's like, oh, free kill. Okay, you're by yourself. Let me just pick you off. If there's a Klari in game, set the lane by killing the ranged minions and leave. Set the you now you kill the range, leave the melee, leave the lane. Your wave will pick up enough momentum by itself to push everything. You won't have to do anything. You don't have to push the lane yourself. Kill the range minions, leave the lane. At this point of stage, you need to be rotating with the team and staying next to each other as close as possible, right? Your jungler, your support, and your AD carry really need to be hand in hand, while the mid laner goes rotating behind them, while the off laner is the one that can engage early or something like that, where you're not quote unquote in the front lines, but you're able to do enough where you're rotating together because of the damage that you're going to be seeing outputting from Kalari and things like that. So see, Kalari's behind me again, but this time Decker's right there with me. Right, she's able to help and try to support me, but she missed, and I was bait by myself. I missed too many shots, and that gets me killed. I flashed the wrong way. I really should have flashed towards Sevrog instead, and I didn't, and that was really my fault. So I'm dead again. We did pick off Revenant, but he's not a major player. I'm just kicking him out of the fight because as long as he's not getting kills, he can't catch up to my damage output, and we don't really have to worry about anything at that point. Me dying is sucky, but it doesn't destroy the gameplay, especially for the fact that Revenant's not doing enough damage. Because our right lane wasn't set again, we have to go back, fix the lane. Countess is always the best person for wave clearing. Easy, hands down, Countess every time. And again, rotate together, stick together. You don't want to be caught out by yourself with a Kalari that's so fed as this one is, and not be able to survive or get out of the fight. So now I have my Kingsbane for shielding, so I keep myself sort of alive with just autos. I have my armor pen, and I got the lightning hawk for my first item. This makes a huge difference, and I have my ulti ready, and I'm going to have anti-tank ready. So this Grux again just makes this bad decision. It goes into our jungle, no idea why, and he's just going to get killed. I mean, you can't just sit there without your team backing you up. And Kalari is sitting on top of a ward, didn't realize it, and we knew he was sitting there, that's why we weren't moving up. And that's just, in the end of the day, the team wasn't communicating with what's happening, and they weren't following, what they needed to do as a team. Now, they're not on comms and whatnot, but they should be paying attention to how it's happening. And our Countess is hunting the Kalari because Countess has an easy time killing Kalari compared to anybody else in game because she is also a mage assassin, right? So she gets her hands on him. He will probably die in one combo set with ulti included. It makes a huge, huge, huge difference um, in the long run. Now again, my farm's pretty bad. Let's be honest here. Farm is pretty bad. Now the real reason here why I like Sparrow so much is how strong she is with a team fight. Right? It's all about that team fight ability and keeping the ability to pierce and hit every single person that pops up. And I'm having issues because that Grux is so tanky with the Richter that I'm gonna build Sky Splitter here because they don't have any CC. The Richter pull in the silence is not a big CC, is not a big enough CC for me to even attempt to buy for, and there's no real reason to get CC cleanse for just Grux as he's not focusing me. So what happened here? I died. I got picked off by Kalari, even though I had Sevrog next to me. Kalari still did way too much damage, which means I should not have been out of base. I needed to wait until all five of us are ready with the Countess on me, so that if Kalari popped up, Countess can Q and ulti her right away. And instead, I was out way too far, got overextended, and I died for it. Even with the Sevrog dead to ulti him away, it wouldn't have made a difference to at all. Mostly because she could just ulti, break back in, and that would have been the end of that. So I really need to stick with my support. I need to stick with my mid lane because that's how I'm going to be able to keep myself alive from being killed by Kalari and being so low on CS as well. And wave clearing, nothing hard here, just keeping them at bay, keeping the towers at bay as much as possible. So this Grux is level 17. That's how far behind. Well, I want to say behind, but the mid lane is 17 as well. So me and the jungler, we're only 14, so we're pretty decently far away from everything here. And we're trying to figure out what to do. We're just defending right now, not really trying to figure out what to do, but we're defending. Countess is pushing, and we're still behind almost 12. We're behind 12 kills right now. And we just need to sit around and wait. We need to just camp it out. Don't push too far. Don't go by yourself too far. Make sure your support stays with you. And ward up. Keep your wards on you. Don't let that Kalari get next to you. And if you see Kalari, switch and turn on him. So that's why it's so important for the Countess to be with us once we start grouping. Because that Countess is what's going to keep us alive. She's the one that's going to two-shot Kalari and keep him off me, and I'll do the rest, and I'll be able to follow up with more AoE damage to the whole team. So I got Sevrog behind me, I got Decker here, we're able for a ball. I'm going to put some wards down so in case Kalari comes up, we're going to hard push this lane and get out. Oh, Kalari showed his face. So now, our Grux is bad. I'm not going to say, he's not good. He's he's doing a very bad game today, right? He's not bad, he's just having a bad game probably, but in general, he's having, he's a -1. But the good thing about somebody, I want to say feeding, but in this situation, they went and picked him off in mid lane. No real reason to kill him anymore. He doesn't gain them anything. Now he has CC and they can pull him in, but killing him is not any benefit to the team because they're not getting much money. Me and Decker were truly out of position where we could have been really collapsed on from Kalari's perspective, and they probably could have killed me and Decker out of this, or just me. But instead they took the easy kill, like always, and killed the Grux. But the Grux is already spawned. He's he's so low level that he's already respawning. So, did they gain anything out of this? Nope. They try to push up. Severa goes in, knocks him out, and Faye's dead. They gained nothing. And now they're pushing, but they didn't gain anything out of killing the person that was the bad player, per se, or having a bad game. So all we need to do is sit around and defend, 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 defend. So, as you saw there, the bad revenant, ulti, he ulti Decker out of the Richter stun. Like, I don't know why. Revenant was probably having a bad game as well. He thought he could kill Decker, but number one rule: don't try to fight Decker, and don't think you're going to kill Decker because you probably won't kill her. She is so evasive; it's just not worth your time or effort to even bother killing her. So the big thing here is, as we saw, I shouted out there, like, there's a Clary, get on him, and I popped all my skills here, and that was number one mistake on my side. I should not have popped my ulti, and I should not have popped my anti tank. And I'm like, cool, I'm gonna get out, and then Richter pulls me back in, and I'm dead. Like, I wasted flash. I went straight. I should have went to the side. I shouldn't have been in range of his pull. Went too, I went to an obvious spot, and that was my mistake. Clary comes back in the fight. They get grouped up. They get ulted, and they're dead. That was a big, big mistake on my end. Like, I wasted on my ulti. I was in poor positioning. There's so many things there I did wrong that to do it, there's things I could have done right. So I have my final item. They're not. I already have enough to burst down the tanks. I got my armor pen now, and there's really no reason for me to build any more lifesteal or shielding because I got two things that do that already. So right now I just need more damage faster. Gotta go crit damage, right? Crit damage and power. So final item is going to be impervious, and we're going to get, we have a lot of people would surrender right now. Most teams would surrender in terms of just being destroyed and being pushed out. So you can always come back if you can clear the minion waves fast enough. You can keep yourself alive. So you would be thinking, okay, the game's done here. We lost. It's game over. But I have all my skills up. I'm able to clear out this wave, even being stunned, um, and everything. They're not able to finish the game. We all spawn up, and the core goes down to almost 15%. Could they have finished the game if they were grouped as a as the full stack, as a 5-man stack right there? Probably. If their team didn't decide to go take Fangtooth and leave Faye and Richter alone to try to finish the game and die for it, they probably would have won the game. There's a good chance, very, very good chance they would have won the game because just Richter and Faye alone got it down to 15%. If they would have just had two more people with them, heck, one more person with them, we probably would have lost the game. And that's all because of poor positioning on my side, and wasting my ulti and my skills to kill a Kalari, which I shouldn't have done, right? I need to leave the Kalari to the Countess and killing the Kalari. So back to turtling, back to waiting, farming up my final item, and kind of building up from there. So that final item is really the key to winning this. If I would have been at 200 farm at 20 minutes instead of at 30 minutes, 34 minutes, I would have had my full build completed by 30 minutes, and we would have had a different fight mid to end game. That fight that we lost, I was hitting him with my ulti and everything. I would have done a lot more damage. I would have been able to kill him faster, and we probably would have won the fight. Instead, I get picked off, I get pulled, and I'm out of position. I get killed, and we lose the fight. We would have lost the game if the party grouped, right? If they were grouped, they would have won the game at 33 minutes. The game would have been done. We would have lost this. And even with the bad Revenant, they're able to push us out and beat us because of the Kalari killing me. So I really need to pay attention. I really need to stay back as far as possible and make sure that I'm not going to get picked off and have this ability to actually do the carry damage that I need to do without getting killed by Kalari. So this time I'm going to say, we're communicating. Countess is going to ensure that Kalari is going to get killed and not stay on me. Decker's going to be around me. I'm going to keep myself, in that group setting so that I can make sure that we can be safe as much as possible. I'm not going out of base. There's no reason for me to go out of base. I have wards everywhere. I'm on the core. There's nothing for me to gain from leaving the base right now. I will stay in the base. I will keep this going, and I will stay here to defend and keep with my team. Right? Kalari's still not showing his face. We want to wait for that Kalari to show the face. We have wards at both entrances. We have wards around us. We want to make sure we see whenever that Kalari pops up. We have to make sure we get on top of it. Grux gets pulled in. I'm able to sit here and kite, and no issues. Free kills. There's a Kalari. Why did Kalari go on our Sevrog? No idea. I couldn't tell you. Could not tell you on that one. But it's a death sentence for Kalari. Like there's no reason for Kalari to go on Sevrog at all. All right, so here we're really turtling, right? We have to make sure that we're not going to get picked off. We're not going to get really, really destroyed here, right? We need to really focus in on keeping ourselves alive and making sure that we're not going to lose because of everything. But we were to pick off three of them, right? So we kill three of them. They can't push us up with all the minions, even though all the minions are there. They're having troubles. If Revenant was a little bit stronger, maybe they could have maybe killed me and Countess and won the game. But with the wave clear with Countess and you include that with how much damage I'm doing, there's really no way for them to, you know, to get to us. So we're able to win that fight, right? So we're able to win that fight, and we're still 14 kills down, and we're heavily, heavily turtling. We have to keep ourselves from being picked off, and it's a long cooldown timers at this time, right? Once you get that 30 minute mark and later, like cooldown timers just go crazy. I don't know what I was doing here, just kind of screwing around, buying potions for no reason, and they don't stack, right? You can only buy one or the other. So I was just messing around. And turtle, wait for your inhibitors to respawn, your core regens HP, and it's just kind of playing the waiting game. We have we do have Fangtooth spawning here, and three of them are up. So we have to be careful with the Kalari and being able to come back at us and making sure that we're not going to get picked off here. So I'm rotating with my jungler. We're going to go to Fangtooth to make sure they can't get the fourth Fangtooth and stack it. And we find out the Grux is just sitting there. I don't think I agree with what the Grux is doing. He thought, oh, their entire base is gonna get destroyed if they come over the Fangtooth. I'll just get it for free. And we show up with all four of us and three of us, and it's like, yeah, I guess I shouldn't have been there. And it's like, oh, Kalari's just taking our inhibitors for free because they don't attack you anymore. But I'm back in to help, and was it really needed? Countess kind of just like blew him up, and it's like, oh, all right. I guess I could have just pushed with my team, but better safe than sorry. Again, it's all about turtling. You know, Kalari checking the inhibitors doesn't really do him any good. He just got killed. He's out for a minute and a half, and we're able to push every lane out now without the threat of Kalari killing me or Decker. It kind of opens up the entire game uh, because Grux is the fed one and Kalari's the fed one. And without either of them on their team to support, the push, you just kind of just put yourself in this weird corner, essentially allowing us to really just group up with our Fed members, me, Countess, and Sevrog. And while our Grux and our Decker was pushing the right lane that got pushed by Kalari, we were able to set up two lanes. We used to have the left lane, we set up right lane, mid lane, and we're just able to push you out. You don't have any front line. You don't have a assassin to really do anything against me. We make a couple mistakes here. No minions. I didn't realize the minions weren't moving. Several gets pulled in. It's kind of too deep, and yeah, it was a mistake when he went too deep. And I was like, oh, minions were fighting other minions behind me somehow. So we kind of make a mistake here where we got picked off because we went way too deep. Back out and reset and rinse and repeat. So the biggest thing here, right? Again, we would have lost the game if they grouped and pushed our core, but they felt like it was more necessary to take a Fang Tooth, third Fang Tooth, than to just finish the game. And that would have won them the game, right? The game would have been done. They wouldn't have to deal with what's happening now. And that's the entire game. But the end state game, right? It doesn't matter how far you are behind in this game. And Predecessor and Paragon in general, if you play long enough, you will get all the items you need required. Needless to say of how many deaths you have. So okay, makes life easy. So issue here, Richter again, they're soloing. They're trying to 1v, Richter thinks he's a DPS. Fade can't do damage. It's no real reason to be in this situation. Like why even try to pull the Grux? Like our Grux is not a threat. You shouldn't even be trying to kill Grux for any reason. But he did. So Countess is gonna go back and defend, and me and Decker is gonna push their Grux, and their Grux can't do anything. Essentially just dead in the water. If he doesn't CC me, he'll get next to me, and as long as I have Decker with me, there's really nothing he can do. Clary, Sevrog's there defending, fighting the Clary, and Countess is there as well. Kill Grux in pretty much a couple hits and waiting for the minions, and we're able to push it out. Like it's pretty straightforward there. Like it's pretty sad because again they would have won the game. All they needed to do was group, and instead of grouping, they didn't do that. They didn't group. They let us farm, and at the end state here, we're able to just push down the core, get it down to a reasonable. I think we got down to 50% here before our last minion got spawned. I got killed, and Sevrog's pushing. Sevrog meets us right lane with Countess, and we're able to just push this out. You know, Faye has enough AoE ult to kill minions, and Richter doesn't really have enough. So, gonna keep trying to push it out, keep making them stay broken up so they can't get 5 stack. And as long as they can't get a 5 stack on it, it's pretty set. You're pretty set in stone, right? There's nothing, nothing to really worry about. And as long as they keep killing them, so the game's ending here. We're able to push everything in. They're broken up. Their timers are too high. So if you enjoyed this commentary, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on for my YouTube. I am streaming on Twitch for a little bit. So if you want some pointers on AD carry, that's my primary role is AD carry. So I like Drongo and Sparrow the most. Revenant and Murdoch are my least favorite at the moment, but I enjoy pretty much all that. So again, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and I hope to see you on my stream. Thanks for watching, and come back for more.